Just letting you know with the live that I'll be going live in about an hour and a half, 2 hours, just so I can discuss the Bulldogs. Sorry if you can't see me, but it's probably a good thing. Not expecting too many people to come on, but if you see this, you'll know I'm going to go live a bit later. But I'll just give some thoughts now while I'm driving along before I come home and do the deep dive. Try and take a bit of the emotion out of it. Pretty pissed off and disappointed like most people would be. But as usual, I can see some stuff that I wasn't unhappy with in the game as well. It really shits me to see the comments, but that's all right. People do that, but it does piss me off a bit. It comes down to a couple of pretty basic things. They just executed their opportunities. They got the luck where we didn't. Not saying we were good, because we weren't good. We weren't horrible in every area. Discipline got away from us. Obviously dropping a lot of balls in that weather, as they dropped quite a few. But then we sort of handed them a long bit of possession, and our left edge were very seemed confused at times with and without the ball, and also lacking a little bit of urgency at different times. And I think a halftime spray from the coach would have definitely woken the doggies up a little bit. And I will say that, you know, while we still had some ridiculous, well, not ridiculous, but we dropped our balls and things didn't go our way, you know, they make sort of two breaks off. You know, Dewey goes to the blind side and no one sort of reacted. No communication, people going the wrong way in defence, especially on that left edge. It really sucked. And they go all the way to score, which probably comes down to a speed thing as well. We definitely aren't the fastest side in the comp, that's for sure. But the other part of that is you've got a scenario where, you know, like they jump on a loose ball, then go and score. You know, Critter jumps on a loose ball and then looks to pass to Galvin. Sort of just, by that time, it's a different time of the game. They're tired, they're chasing points, and just, you know, anything that was going to go wrong would go wrong. You know, Tigers were better at the big moments, and when you're better at the big moments, when it counts, you're going to win the matches. And we've won plenty of games where we've taken our opportunities, other teams haven't. There's been nothing in it. But on the scoreboard, it can make a big difference. And then you've got a scenario where there's forward passes. You know, I felt look, the two tries that were disallowed early in the game for us, you know, I wasn't too disappointed. I was disappointed we didn't get the results there, but, you know, we did enough to get across the line, and the play wasn't bad. It just fell short with a forward pass, and it fell short with Wyatt sending it up as a no try, which he did for pretty much. We needed bunker intervention on most of our stuff, and when we got one wrong with the bunker, when we challenged it, we're never going to get anything else in our favour, except for one thing, was Max King getting slapped in the face and the bunker basically saying they had to send him off. And then Critter's head high, mitigating circumstances, completely two different tackles, and one deserved a sin bin based on the laws of the game, and one didn't. But all this other conjecture they try and bring into it, oh, he's a category 1, so he should have sin bin, blah. No, his knee was on the ground. He was barely a metre off with his shoulder there. Taylor Mays ran into his shoulder. There was no lifting upwards like say Faf did. So people need to shut up, especially the commentary team. Absolutely disgraceful. So, but well done to the Tigers. You know, I had no issues with the booing of Lachlan. I felt that he played all right. I felt he probably should have run the ball a little bit more and taken a bit more of his medicine. But at the same time, he did some good things. Couple of things. Look, I've been talking about it the whole time he's been in the side, that we've got a deficiency in our defence with him out there, because he just isn't as physically able to smash people down with his shoulder as Toby was. And that costs you momentum, it concedes more metres, that sort of stuff. But look, we make up for it for the most part, and it's not a big deal, and it'll only get better. And obviously the rain, we're just not playing ability in those conditions. It's just not to do that we haven't worked out properly. It's not panic stations, but the big elephant in the room is, and I told everybody this when I was doing the podcast last week, that losing your fullback is huge, and just the dismissal of that in the media just makes you question, like, do the people who play the game actually know what they're fucking talking about sometimes, like, or is it just deliberate ignorance to make sure they can do, you know, glorify a win and heckle a loss sort of thing. Like, smart people knew that the Tigers were going to be tough to beat tonight, and I said it. They went 50 minutes with the Panthers without conceding a point and had nowhere to go. We're just getting absolutely smothered and compounded as you expect them to, and then they come out against us. And look, even parts of that second half, they must have thought they were playing the Panthers again. I felt our aggression in the second half was good. And, you know, Kurt Mann drops a ball. But what happened for the probably 10, 15 minutes before that, he's probably played an extra 15 minutes more than he normally would on his average this year, which a lot of people would be happy with. He played, 46 to 48 minutes. And I thought he was actually one of our best players, Kurt Mann. And he forced about 3 or 4 errors from the Tigers with his defence. Curran did some really good hits. After he knocked that ball on it, he absolutely smashed. It was really good. Got no commentary, but it hurt Terrell. Terrell wearing a lot of bruises. We smashed him tonight. Look, the Tigers were gritty, they were tough, and they should have won a lot more games this year. I've watched all their matches, and you know, I've watched all the Dragons matches as well. They're two sides that'll keep improving, because they're just getting closer and closer, and they're just lacking that ability to, you know, finish teams off and be consistent. They have a lot of close games and close losses where they're not getting the luck because maybe they haven't earned it enough. But today I had no issue with the sin bin of their guy and Critter staying on, and if he's suspended, that'll be absolute bullshit if that occurs. What else have we got? But we'll go through the stats when I get home. There'll be a lot of, it was pretty close in the end, most of the statistics. We might have even had more line breaks and stuff than them, but sometimes the statistics change a little bit overnight. But it tells us the picture. We had opportunity to break score tries. And yeah, it's just got to be expected. Who's having a big carry on here? Oh, Brian, welcome. He's always here. Serrato's a moron, is he? He moved the best winger to fullback, the left winger to the right wing, and the 18-year-old to the left wing. Well, Brian, I'll talk to you first, mate. How you going, mate? Obviously, you're sad that we lost. But I'll tell you something now, you know fuck all about rugby league, my friend. But I do have some criticisms of things as well. But you have no idea about rugby league. I'll tell you that now, you got absolutely none. You're a fucking wanker, mate. The only thing you can do after a loss is hang shit on the club. After a fucking win, if you're not happy with how we won, you hang shit on the club, on the coach, on the players. And you come on here because you want me to bite. And you know I'll fucking bite. I will bite because it's straight after the fucking game, mate. So why don't you go and do everyone a favour and go to a place which cares for your opinion, because I don't. Right? For a start. To our bloody YouTube, eh? All right, so we lost half the viewership, but I really don't care. Now, Brian, let's talk about Carraz at fullback. Not my first choice. I would pick Blake Wilson. But guess what? We don't have many fullbacks. Who do you think we should have put to fullback? Stephen Crichton. I'll tell you why Crichton's not there, mate. He was doing reps at training. He was doing reps at training in both defence and attack. But he's just busted, mate. Critter can't sustain the yardage stuff and running across the try line to be in the right spot and running the attack as well. Right? Now, Critter was actually quite good in our attack play on the edge at the fullback, but the other stuff he couldn't. Now, Carraz was definitely out of position a couple of times, and the communication wasn't as good. So, but the way you go about it, mate, like the fullback position is the club's kryptonite at the moment. And I don't even believe our great young fella Joe Ash, who I sort of like would have loved to have had in this situation, would have saved the day for us today. Maybe he would have, maybe he wouldn't have. But our best winger, like, you call the coach a fucking moron. Like, why the fuck would you come here and say the coach is a moron, mate? Like, name calling the coach because you can't handle that we lost. They know more than you, mate. Heaps more than you. And sometimes in hindsight, things don't work out the way you want them to. And sometimes what happens on the training paddock doesn't transpire. But you should know enough to understand that teams like Wests were always going to be hard to beat today. And not having Connor Tracy or Blake Taft there as a backup was also going to be difficult for the club to overcome, which is what I stated in the podcast last Tuesday. So it was no big surprise that they were going to be a lot closer to us today. And with the rain, we just don't know how to fucking play it. We just keep getting it wrong. Is that panic stations, though? Is that enough for people to say, oh, the club's disconnected again? Like, is everyone going to flip back on that? Or is the people who sat there and because we didn't beat St George by a fucking big enough margin, going to come out and say that Galvin and Gus and Serrato have wrecked our season and that we're just pandering to this kid? No, they're fucking not pandering to the kid. We have parts of our game which are really good, and we have parts of our game which, when you make changes and when you have new combinations come into your side, there's going to be some deficiencies. It's just a fact. But if anyone thought we were the finished fucking product, they haven't been watching our games closely enough. And people surprised by this result today didn't take into account the how hard it is to replace a fullback that's developed and just continued to improve and has been so important to the work rate of our team. It's just a hard thing to replace. And you know, well, Carraz dropped a couple of bombs. Oh, so what? You know, he'll only get better for the run. And if it doesn't work out, well, it doesn't work out. Like, these things happen. I knew it was going to be tough to overcome today. I thought that they would be harder to beat. But in the rain, it just turned out they nailed their opportunities and we didn't. Simple as that. Was happy with the second half, though. They all seemed awake. Yep, our discipline was bad. Yes, we tried too hard, but at least we were aggressive. At least we put some bruises on the opposition, choked them out for, probably 25 minutes of that second half. There's some green shoots there, but like, I'm pissed off from losing. I'm disappointed, but at the end of the fucking day, this happens. The Raiders just lost to the Dragons. The friggin', and you got their fans acting like Brian Dibb, calling their coach this shamulta and fucking whatever else. At half time, because they're taking the two, just losing his shit at his club and at his coach and at the players. And then they win, He gets to say, oh, it's because I bullied you into winning. Well, look, it's good for clicks, but that's all it's good for. It's not good for rugby league debate or rugby league discussion. Now, I also think that the club, look, I would have preferred Blake Wilson because I just trust that he's got that knowledge of fullback, and I just think he would have been suited to today's conditions. Got to go and watch the replay of the New South Wales Cup, which was an 18-all draw. We needed to win, but I'm still happy with the performance. Logan Spinks was big. Joey O'Neill did some good stuff. Yeah, and look, if Blake's not on the side, it's for a dead set reason. So I just don't know what that reason is, but that doesn't make the coach a fucking moron. And he's 19-year-old Ridikama, and he plays left wing. All right, so get that fact right. Carraz's played fullback before. It's not always been. It's definitely not his most comfortable position, but it's probably a position he has ambition to play. Like many players do, if you can crack into a spine position, you're worth more money. And look, Critter, I think, could do it on his ear, and he's a much better attacking player, and much more, got a lot more knowledge and wisdom behind his attack, rather than just him inserting himself. He can insert others. So he'll be a much better fullback going forward if he can get his body right. But that's definitely been a problem. It's impacted his speed. It's impacted impacted quite a few things. But, I talked about all this, why he wouldn't be there. But he's definitely there as the next option, and I think he'll step up if he has to. And if the coach decides he's got to change that, he will. But I think they've got to, whatever they do, the change has to be made, pretty quick, and they're just going to have to stick with it and just keep getting better. If that means we drop a few games and we'll drop more than half on the way home and only just finish in the top four, or struggle to finish top four, so fucking be it. It's just, this is rugby league. Things happen. And that was our kryptonite, the fullback position, in my opinion, and it played out that way. But still, there was some good stuff that Carraz did. There's some good stuff Critter did in attack, and they'll only get better for it. I felt the left edge just seemed like it was asleep. Bronson Cherry missed like 4 or 5 tackles, I think. So he didn't have the best game defensively, and Burton and Kikau going the wrong way a couple of times, and just had our pants pulled down by communication errors, and them seeing that we hadn't adapted to something and taken advantage of it. Like, a lot of it come down to us, and I get that, but that doesn't mean, we had just as many moments, created opportunities. They just nailed theirs and we didn't nail ours. End of the story. But I'll still go live and do a deep dive for those who like to listen to it. How sad you think you're important, Brian Dibb? I've warned you guys all year, Australia's an arrogant maggot trying to reinvent the wheel. An arrogant maggot now. He's an arrogant maggot. Brian, I think you should go. Look, if you love our club, why don't you go and arrange a meeting? Because that's disgraceful, mate. Absolutely disgraceful. Crows isn't a fullback. Timmy, Brian Dibb go fly a kite. 2-1. Not us, buddy. All opinions matter. Well, mate, this is my podcast, and this is our community. And in our community, we don't like fuckwits putting shit on our coach and on our players and on our club. Simple. You know, win, lose, whatever. It's a privilege to be a part of the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs club as a member. It's a privilege to be given voting rights. It's a privilege to wear the colours. Whether we've won one game or fucking all the games, it does not fucking matter to me. I bleed as much as anyone. I get as pissed off as much as anyone. I have my opinions on what the team should be. I write out my team every week. I don't share it hardly anymore. Sometimes the dogfather will put a prediction out, but that's it. I get some intel from time to time, but I don't fucking share it. Why? Because there's more at stake than my ego and my fucking views and clicks. But what we do need is to support. And I've always been here because it's people like Brian Dibb who start, and people who use their podcasting voice to, instead of trying to unite the club and support the club, take people's opinions to try and advance themselves with it. I'll never fucking forgive those young fellas, after we lost 66-0, going to the Lees Club and sticking microphones in front of fans' faces and then doing the same shit about fucking the coach we had at the time, Trent Barrett, years ago. And, no. If you listen to the fans, you end up one. The club has done an amazing job. We're in such a much better position. Our share price has just continued to grow. And in any share price, you have fucking peaks and you have little troughs and you have little plateaus and you have little dips. And that's exactly what it is. We have things that we need to improve. But when you say that we need to change the fucking, like he's a maggot because he's trying to change the wheel, what are you talking about, mate? What wheel? Who the fuck was driving before? Because it wasn't working. That's for sure. I'm glad he's changing the wheel. I won't cop it, mate. Timmy, Crazes played fullback and believe that some of the decisions from the referee were wrong, but we played with more heart in the second half. Why change the side that scored 40? Brian, do you not understand that Connor Tracy is a huge fucking loss to our club? Most people didn't. Most people have just glazed over it. But you're just as bad because you're basically thinking there was a much better option to go there. And there's not. We could have went with Wilson, but it doesn't mean it was going to work any better for us. Corrales got some learnings out of that game, for sure. And that's what he needs to get, because we need contingency. I'd be developing Mitchell Woods as a fullback right now for next year. That's what I'd be doing. And then if he gets an opportunity to come in because Tracy gets injured, or, if he gets to come in the halves, he can do that at a whim anyway. You can train him in both areas. Why? Because he's got that body. He's got that build. He's got that acceleration like the Dylan Edwardses and like the Connor Tracys. I like the Keanu Kinneys. I'd be looking at these prototypes all the time. And then you have your big, tall wingers who can make yards. But, look, that's just me. It's not going to happen, though. He'll be the next 7 at some point. Like Burton had a really poor game today, and so did Bronson Cherry. And Kickout had a poor game. They all had a poor game. The winger was left exposed a few times, yeah, and that first tackle on, look, we know Jarrell Skelton's going to score those tries most of the time. If Tuala was there, I could probably concede. I reckon he might do a better job of stopping him, because a 19-year-old's just one-on-one with a beast isn't going to be trusted to hit with that shoulder. And there's a bit of grabbing action there, and there's a bit of grabbing from Galvin, which we concede meters on, but Critter still smashes him in the ribs, Like, this game of rugby league, Nathan Cleary kicks a fucking field goal to beat to tie the Titans and go on the Golden Point, and then they win from 40 metres out with a minute to go. Like, if that doesn't tell you anything about how volatile this competition is and how hard it is to string back-to-back games together, let alone 6 like we did, let alone, 3 in a row recently, which for the first 2 games we got criticised for in Origin period, and then, transitioning with a new start. It just doesn't make sense, people. Who's this? Dogs are absolute dog shit. Oh! What, you agree to your help? What went wrong? Oh, you agree, Brian. You agree the dogs are shit. Well, Brian, you should just go fuck yourself, mate. Simple. Sorry about the language, but I'm not. Seriously, mate. What a piece of shit you are. That you get out there and you call our team dog shit because you can't handle losing. How pathetic are you? Hope you don't have kids, mate. Because I swear they're going to be raised like fucking spoiled little idiots who think it's all right just to go and shout and carry on every time life doesn't go their fucking way and blame everyone else because their dopamine suffers. Is that what you're going to do? It's just what we need. Another bunch of people like you. You shouldn't be allowed to breed, mate, let alone fucking talk. You always said Wilson. Well, guess what? I would have said Wilson too. But just because you think and I thought that Wilson would be the better go, if we lose, you know what you do? You go and blame someone else, mate, or you just blame the coach. So this is what you do. Every time you think a player should be in another position or think that we should have done something differently and we lose, that is all you need to go out and tell the fucking world that you were right and everyone else was wrong and the coach was wrong. And if you believe that that's a way to carry yourself, it's not only gullible, it's absolutely narcissistic. But that's all right. I'm happy to talk to you about your behaviour any day of the fucking week, mate. Because I'm not much better at the moment. The fact that I'm even engaging with you is so far removed from what I would actually normally do in everyday life. I just stare fucking through you and keep walking. And I allow the fool to keep fucking talking. I agree with that. Connor Tracy is a top 5 most important players in the team. Of course he is. Well said, Brian. Good job. Which is what I told everyone. Abraham, sometimes Wilson is pretty good under the high ball. Did you see Wilson in Broncos game? Yeah, sometimes people drop the ball, buddy, in games. That happens. That's all right, House 87. So House said that Serrato is a moron, is he? Okay. Should have kept Joash. Well, I would have liked to have kept Joash, but guess what? Joash wouldn't have much of a... I don't think he would have had much of a help with it today. But if he was... Because I think that Blake Taft still would have been the fullback for most of the year. Yeah, Joash probably would have taken over from then. And maybe he comes in today and makes his debut. Maybe that happens. But if he stays, he got offered a really good top 30 position. And the Dogs weren't willing to match that or go to war with it. So you make decisions. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We've strengthened ourselves in other areas. We won our first 6 or 7 matches. We've been in the top 3 of the competition for the entire season. But we can say we should have kept this player and we shouldn't have got that player. Well, at the end of the fucking day, we could have lost 3 halfbacks and not had a halfback play. We could have lost Marnie early in the season. We could have lost heaps of players that we can't cover, because that's what happens in rugby league. Sometimes you can't cover your losses. Sometimes you can't, Brian. So hindsight critics are the worst, because they always think that they'd be proven right if people did everything they said that they should do. And it's not how life works, and it'll never work like that. Sorry. What's House doing? Mick, he is a moron because he is arrogant. He's trying to reinvent the wheel. Panthers are winning it this year. They might win it, Abraham, and good on them. If they win it, they deserve it. I never, in my wildest dreams, didn't think we're ready to win a premiership. And if Tracy's still on our side, I'm getting more confident that we can. There's no way I'm writing our season off. No way. None. I've seen it too many times with the Bulldogs. I've seen it too many times when we are able to get to finals and say, game on. You know, some clubs and some teams have a good game in them or a good couple of games in them. I know our Dogs have proven they can win 3 in a row, they can win 6 in a row, and do it in times of the season when it's been difficult. So, no one's derailed our season. Our season is going pretty bloody well, and sometimes, and the common denominator is we lose in the wet. That's something we've got to work out, because, you know, it could rain. Oh, he knew so much when he had Perham at fullback for 16 weeks. Oh, Brian, Hayes Perham was considered the next best thing since fucking Sean Johnson. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Hayes Perham had the type of fitness and speed and football. See, until you speak to people who know Hayes Perham, who have grown up watching Hayes Perham through his community, who have sat there and played with Hayes Perham, until you know that, you should shut your mouth. When you go into a team that's been put together in the NRL, and that's not to say that I wanted Jake Averillo at fullback. He still can't get a gig there. He only gets put there as a second option wherever he goes. But I felt he was going to be one of the greatest fullbacks of all time. But it hasn't worked out that way. And Hayes got the gig. Hayes got the jump. And the only reason they dropped Hayes is because he was that devoid of confidence, and his family was copping so much shit from people like you that it was, you know, it was cutting him up. He just lacked the confidence. We didn't have too many much better options than Hayes Perham, unfortunately. And that's just the way it was. So you go back to 2023, when they put together a side that was full of players that couldn't play 80 minutes, that was stuck in our roster, that was full of players that had the fucking nous to question the work ethic of the club, players that talked about bleeding for the jersey, but when it came down to it, couldn't lift their fucking arm or leg to make a tackle. That's what we were full of. And until you get rid of those players, or have those players understand that the system that they're in requires more of them, and if they don't understand the system, they need to go to another club where it works better for them. But every player that's left our club and gone to other clubs, how great have they gone? Only Averillo has done fantastically well. Alamotti is a good enough talent to go into that side at the Panthers, make his tackles, finish the tries, do what he does well to be an important part of their side. Out of that, there's been fuck all. They just haven't kicked on. Because this coach knows the type of player and the prototype of player to play a game which is proven to fuck in strategy, that is proven to work in the NRL under the current rules, right? He knows the type of players that you need for that to happen. Okay? Now, Hayes Perrin went to the Broncos, and they were happy to pick him up, which is why he came with the side last year when we beat the Brisbane Broncos. He never played, but he came with the club in the 24-man roster. He had his meetings, and he was signed. Okay? Now, when Hayes, he's done his fucking, he did his ACL or something straight away. But the hatred that you people give players like Drew Hutchison, like, you just don't get it, how beneficial these players are to our club with their mindset and the way that they, how hard they train and all. The club isn't just what happens with the fucking 17 players on game day. And it's about time fans started to get a knowledge of that. There's so much more to the players that actually just go out there on the field on the day. And half of them are bloody so beat up. Like, yeah, and you're talking about reinventing the fucking wheel? Okay, well, so, like, you just, honestly, man, seriously, it's so hard to talk with you, bro. Brian, I already told you, fuckwit. Hutchison was there while Toby learned how to fucking tackle in the system, mate. Do you not get it? He was the only fucking option we had. Right? Hayward hadn't proven himself. And there was games we won with Hutchison that we wouldn't have won without him. And our try line defence was so much better having someone who could tackle and put his shoulder into a fucking edge back rower and bring him down. Like, you just don't get it, mate. The New South Wales Cup were going great when Hutchison was in the halves. But that's not our future. It's not about winning the New South Wales Cup. You got injured? Yeah. And they've struggled. And it takes time for those young halves to develop against these men so that they can orchestrate the side. The changes week to week. You don't understand how it fucking works and what it's doing from every level. Instead, you just come and hang shade on the coach that has us in a much better position than we've ever been fucking. And we don't even have a spine we've still got, like, I think we're 16th or 17th. It increased a little bit when Galvin come to the club. It went up by 250 grand to what we were on. But we've got the 16th or 15th cheapest spine in the comp. We've been on top of the ladder. You know? Like, they had to get players to get us to a certain point, and they've done that. They had to get players and spend more on players than they would want to in certain positions because they knew they were going to get us some points and influence the scoreboard no matter what, and get us in games and get some belief and confidence up. And if we got everything right, you know, on the day, we'd be able to win games. And it's just gradually happened. It's just gradually got better. And you're sitting here in a group that basically says to you, mate, your opinion's like a fart. It just needs to just evaporate into the atmosphere. And no one really needs to fucking hear it. But that's being nasty, you know. Look, I'm not sorry for being nasty, but you come on here and when you throw shade at fucking players in our club, I take offence to it. Simple as that. Now, it's all right for me to be offended. You're not going to hurt me either way, but I'm going to sit here and I'm going to fucking tell you what I think because I can. How about you do your own fucking podcast? It's not that hard, mate. You can do it on a free subscription. You know, fucking couple of, you can do it for fuck all. And you can sit there and call Serrato a moron. Guess what? You'll get heaps of viewers. You'll make yourself money. You'll get subscribers, mate. You will actually become a fucking sensation if you go out there and bully the coach. Trust me. Go and do it because you love Canterbury so much. Sexton would have controlled that game much better than Galvin. Oh, I don't know. Look, Galvin's got nothing to do with it, mate. I don't think he played that poorly at all. And Sexton, that's been his criticism, is he hasn't controlled games when they've been on the line. But Sexy would have made, wouldn't have conceded the post-contact that Galvin concedes. I get that. It's a bit of yin and yang there. But for a long-term gain, and we're getting it. Galvin hasn't had a bad game. I haven't actually seen him have a terrible game. I've seen him have a couple of poor moments or poor options, but that's when you've got a player who's on the ball as much as him, they're going to have bad moments. Apparently Nathan Cleary can't play halfback because New South Wales lost the origin. And apparently he was shit when Penrith were at the bottom of the ladder. Apparently Dearden's in the top echelon of halfbacks that we've got now. His team was down, 28-0 at half time? And they were a lot worse than us. We just missed a couple of moments. They were just getting torn to shreds by the Sharks. Lot dry weather. So careful what you fucking wish for, eh? Like it can easily go back to being 3 wins a year. Because if people like you get enough airtime when we do have some losses, that's where our vulnerability as a club is. Because a couple of vultures can come in and destable the place. And that's what I fucking hate. Panthers could easily win the next 5 years as long as Cleary does not suffer a major injury like Andrew Johns. Yeah, well, that's it. It helps when they got depth in all the spine positions, but Mitch Kenny's a big issue. If Mitch Kenny goes down, the Panthers are going to struggle to win the comp because he's so important defensively. And he doesn't really involve himself in the scoreboard side of things. He's just involved himself in the defence side of things and Cleary in that where the entire attack. But when there's someone who's not as good that way as Mitch Kenny in defence, which they're not, they struggle, and they have struggled without Mitch Kenny this year. If they build depth in that area, could be curtains for a lot of teams. Yeah, the Dogs don't try to do it. Well, we actually went over the try line twice, House. So, over the try line twice, both disallowed. So, that's not too bad. And it is pretty shitty weather. Tries what did the West Tigers get? They got that one off an offload and a shift, which was really poor defence. It wasn't going to score too many tries against too many top oppositions, put it that way. All bad ones, for that matter. That was more on us than them. And then they get that, Dewey down the sideline twice. Like, come on. That's just opportunism at its best. And then their other tries are forward passes, the ones they set up. So, at the end of the day, the difference in the two sides wasn't too much. And I knew they were going to be closer together because we have to make a transition from not having Connor Tracy. Cras will kill it anywhere he plays, but we need his play 2 carries and offloads. Playing a fullback plays away from his strengths. Well, I said that last week, just to make Brian feel like he's a lot fucking smarter than he is. I said, what's the trade-off? What's the trade-off? But he was coming in for second hit-up, but coming in off first hit-up, it's a lot different. And he actually got driven back 3 or 4 times, Karaz. Catch it. And he had time to run onto the football, right? They were there to meet him, and they absolutely smashed him every fucking time. Connor Tracy's smaller, and his connection into the contact has been phenomenal lately. But it's also built up off the defensive work that we do. And playing in the rain's a different game. Sorry, but it is. You know, if we had Blake Taft today, it would have been great, but he's probably slipping over half the... In attack, it's probably much better, but out of yardage, he's probably slipping over half the time. Struggles to stay on his feet. Of course, they tried to play dry weather footy in the wet. Oh, that's on the coach, Brian. Look at this House 87 and Brian coming here having a fucking circle jerk. Trying to come on here and make out that the coach is a moron, which is both said. Like, the fact you're still here. Look, you won't be coming to too many more lives because your contribution's fucking shit. Now, there's things we could definitely... You could change that, and I've given you the opportunity to change it by presenting your opinion in a constructive way. But when you start calling the coach a fucking moron, it just makes you... Yeah, it just makes your point... Just... It's gone. There's no point. It's lost. House, the Dogs won't win the grand final this year, but I hope they knock out the Broncos in the finals. Look at this wanker. Yeah, gratitude. Exactly. We dropped the ball too much, which is going to happen in the rain. But when you're down and you're under scoreboard pressure, it's much harder to mount a comeback. But still, we looked like we were going to different points. I felt we played... Probably our worst play with the ball was when they were down to 12 men. There was just no patience with it at all. And yeah, people can say that comes on the halfback, but I think it's been an issue of ours for quite a number of years that we haven't got over. There's not too many teams we've punished with 12 men. Been a few, but not too many. You never called him an ethnic slur. You called him a moron. What's the fucking difference, mate? What's the difference? You're calling him a name, mate. You're saying he's a fucking idiot. A moron. Don't try and defend your level of... Look, I decide where the line's fucking drawn, mate. Not you. Right? If you come here and call the coach a fucking moron, I don't like it. There's a bloke on our group the other day who started saying racist shit. Oh, if James Hooper was Indigenous, he said. Like that monkey Latrell and stuff, he said. Then he would have gotten away with it for free. Like, that sort of shit. That's racism. I never say you were racist, Brian. You called him a fucking name, and I don't give a fuck if you think in your life that that's nothing and that's how you talk to people and treat people. That's fine. If that's how your mates talk to each other, you know, I call my mates the C word. It's actually a compliment to call them the C word, mate. But we're here, and this is our club, and you're trying to create a narrative that our coach doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, and you only really pop up when we don't win by enough in your mind, or we lose. But we haven't won this many games that we've won for 8 years, mate. So I think you need to just put your little pecker back into your pants and just chill out and give the coach his fucking dues. He's doing a pretty good job and he understands what it is. Look, I know the media are fucking disgraceful. I know that. Everyone's either the biggest loser in the world when they lose, or they're the biggest hero when they win. Scoreboards seem to determine, you know, the media don't even need to look at what happened in the game. They can just look at the scoreboard and give you a complete rundown of what happened without watching the game. I hear all these commentators talk about games and they go, oh, and they say, oh, I only watch the highlights. These are people who are paid to actually watch the games, but don't. But who gives a fuck? You're going to call our club and our coach and our players morons? No. I take offence to it, mate. And I've got the right to take offence to it. Does it mean I'm going to be... It's not going to hurt me. It's not really going to hurt anyone. It's not going to hurt Serrato. But I know that people like you have destabilised our club in the past. All for your own fucking ego. And I don't like it. Oh, House 87. Let's just keep going at the Dogs, mate. Fuck off, bro. Like, seriously, dude. You don't have to come in here and tell us how to suck eggs on how shit the club is when we lost. How many were we missing, House 87, when we played the Broncos? We were missing 5. So what? I'd say they got a much better fucking depth in their top 30 than we do. What do you think that... how many players in the Broncos forward pack are playing in the middle that were playing in the halves last year? How many back rowers are playing middle and winning that many games? Not many. They've got the players for every occasion in the Broncos. They've got one of the best juniors everywhere. Like, you're just talking shit, mate. Were you born in 87? Is that the problem, bro? Hus, are you Turkish or what? Did Dogs play full 80 against the Broncos? Answer is no. Of course they didn't. Didn't get the rub of the green today due to one of those days. No, we didn't. Yeah, I think it would have been better for our team to have just a straight swap with the fullback role and leave. At this point of the season, I felt that would have been the right way, Brian. But I'm not the coach. That doesn't mean the coach is a moron. It's not as simple as that. And they're trying to build a fucking great club. It's not about just winning every game every week the way that we want them to win it. You know, look, it's like Stephen Crichton. No one touches the ball less in our team than Stephen Crichton. And everyone goes, oh, give him early ball, give him early ball. I've said it. Well, if you give him early ball every time, what happens? If you give him more ball, what happens? Do you reckon we get more points? Probably not. Teams adapt and teams know what's coming. What you do is you hold your cards, you treat the whole season like it's a war, and you go into each battle knowing you're going to lose some. But what you're actually going to do is set your whole fucking, set your whole strategy around making sure that when the war's there to be won, it's won. No 2 points is the same as the other 2 points. I know you people think it is, and I go into every game wanting us to win every game as well, but I understand there's a much bigger picture involved. And if they didn't pick Blake Wilson at fullback, it's because they believe that they needed to do this with Carraz and Crichton for the benefit of the club. They've made that decision. They're not going to sit there and just put someone in one off at this time of year. Obviously, they're not. They're just not going to do it. Now, if he decides next week, actually, I'm going to put Wilson there. Going to give him a go. I'll be like, oh, that's interesting. But okay, cool. They know in those walls, and it's not just Serrato. If you think he just picks the team on his own every week without consultation and without, that's not how it works either. Yes, he's got final say on the team. Does he have final say on the top 30? No. Anyway, This has gone way too fucking long and there's way too many messages. So guys, I'm going to, wow, that's like 1,000 messages. Here's Shano. Oh, here we go. So you got all your mates on now, fuckwit. Who's this Danny cunt? Oh, the Sexton. That's it, Notorious. So cool, he's destroyed the club. Who the fuck are you, bro? Is this a big... Are you a bunch of circle jerkers? Are you sitting there... Have you got it all out at the moment, have you? Sitting there looking at each other. Typing in your comments. Look at these wankers. Crichton not going off, Danny. Why the fuck would he go off, bro? Why would he go off? Tell me that. His knee was on the ground when fucking when Teddy fell into his shoulder. Completely different to the other bloke who was standing upright and actually lifted into the fucking contact and threw his shoulder into the head. Still didn't hit him that hard, but who cares? There's mitigating circumstances. Someone slipping against someone just basically fucking completely bent down with a low center of gravity to someone fucking fully standing up. Like, get your fucking head together, mate. Seriously. Oh. Oh, loving it. Dogs have not improved since Gilbert was stolen. Oh, Danny. So do you even know who his manager is? I bet you don't. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave this. There's too many cockheads on here. Thanks to all the Doggies fans who turned up. Thanks to you, Brian, because, I don't know. I don't even know why I said thanks, but whoever your mates are, like, I don't mind bantering with fuck. That's what I mean. Like, opposition fans, I don't mind bantering with them. My brother's a West Tigers fan. You come and watch the Bulldogs. You come and watch Galvin against the Eels, you know. We had a great time. Wore his West jersey. We have a lot of banter around the footy. My nephews are West Tigers. 2 of them are, actually. And I've got 2 brother-in-laws who are West Tigers fans. Now, half of them were Balmain fans previously, you know, so some are West, some are Balmain. I've got, you know, I like the club. I used to love Tommy Rodonigas. I had a lot of Bulldogs that I loved who went to the Western Suburbs Magpies, you know. I don't give a fuck about banter with other clubs, but when it's your own fucking fans who just want to sit there and hang shit on your team, that's worse to me. That's way worse. Bantering with opposition fans, you know, doesn't matter who's right or wrong anyway. It's just all just shit. So guys, don't take too much shit from these other fans of other clubs. But anyway, I've got to get off. I don't know if I even get back on again tonight. Probably won't now, but this was good fun. I've got some shit to do. But if I do get on for a late night live, you know, I'll have much better control of what I'm doing. I'll probably swear a lot less and, you know, we'll see what happens. But I'm sorry I couldn't get to everyone's stuff because there's just so much more here than I would have. Oh, go have a cry, you suck up the Tigers. Oh. Seems like you're sucking there, Danny, bro. Well done to the Tigers, though. Well done. Good win, mate. Good win. Good win. Danny boy, you suck. You suck. Look, imagine, I do feel sorry for you, mate. 3 wooden spoons in a row. That's what I mean. People are saying Gus Gould, like this Shane motherfucker, he's saying, oh, Gus Gould destroyed the club. Well, we haven't had 3 wooden spoons in a row, and we did get one before he come along. Maybe, I think we're going a lot better than what we were then since he come back. So I'd say he's done a pretty good job rebuilding a place that was in an absolute mess. But, you can have your opinion. Up the Tigers. Brian, I hate your actions. And look, if you were sitting in here and you were calling fucking Serrato a moron and you had a Bulldogs jersey on, I'd be fucking telling you, I'd be calling you every name under the sun. I'd be looking you dead set in the eye, but in a safe environment. And I'd tell you exactly what I told you here today. And it'd be up to you whether you like it or not, and whether you can walk away and handle that. Because I can handle it. I can handle what you've got to say, mate. But we're on a fucking Bulldog supporter group that I put my time in to give my opinion, and I get opinions of everybody else, and I give everyone a fucking chance. But if you hang shit on the coach, whether it's Trent Barrett, whether it's bloody, whoever it is, Dean Pay, Des Hasler, while they're a coach at our club, I'm gonna fucking stand up for them. Okay? It's as simple as that. You can be constructive, but constructive is sometimes thinking why. Why would the coach make this decision? Why did they do that? And if you don't understand why, which sometimes happens to me as well, I just sit on, I might not know it now, but I bet you I'll know it later on. And for most of the stuff with Serrato, I've been able to see where the pieces are fit together over time. And that is a sign of a coach that's continually working towards improvement of the club and getting a better return on the investment that he's putting in over time. But some people can't cop that. They can't cop losing. And I get it. I understand it. When I played sport, I used to hate losing as well. And I could get very, very fucking dirty and grubby and unsportsmanlike when things weren't going my way, which is why I could never make it as a good sportsman. Right? Simple as that. Simple as that. Sometimes the answers aren't for you today. Sometimes you'll find out the answers later on. Love you, Abraham. Oh, Broncos, Dogs lost to Tigers. Wow. National TV. Is this national TV, is it? Fuck. Puss, mate, I'll tell you something. I haven't cried for a long time. So, I'm just really not happy with the way that you conduct yourself. But I'm a hypocrite because I've been a bit of a cunt myself. But at the end of the day, you're here trying to hang shade on the Bulldogs because you're not a Bulldogs fan. And I wasn't sure of that at first, but I know you're not a Bulldogs fan. So it really don't matter what you've got to say, bro. But I can tell you now, there's not a game or a moment in a game that you can debate me on and win. Motherfucker. No, they're not fans, Scary. Oh, you lost to us. Well, your team shit, is it? Oh, Danny, you can't talk like that, bro. I'll put you in timeout for 24 hours. Danny's in timeout for 24 hours, guys, because he's a fucking idiot. Enjoy your cutlery collection, Danny. First time you ever heard saying Hutchison was a good boy? I never said he was a good boy. I said he's a player in our club who had to play in the halfback role while Toby got ready. That's right. And we didn't have anyone else. He knew how to tackle, and he's from a good system. He was the fucking Australian halfback for the schoolboy side in 2014. He's got knowledge of how to play the game of rugby league, and he's passed that on to players like Toby Sexton. He's helped people, and he's won Man of the Match awards playing for the Roosters. I hadn't seen a 7 in our club win a Man of the Match award since Lachlan Lewis got one for his defence, which Serrato wouldn't even cop in today's game. You know, his little Highland fucking fling tackle that rarely used to slow the ball down. But I love watching Lachlan Lewis. But at the end of the fucking day, Hutchison was never going to be the long-term answer. He's brought to the club to fulfill a role, and he fulfills that role every fucking day. He's like the Nathan Cleary of New South Wales Cup. And that means he's not good enough to be a 7 of the NRL week in, week out. He just doesn't have the physical fucking capability and speed to do it on both sides of the ball. But we got enough out of him. We won some games, and we built some confidence in the way that we defended, which enabled us to attack. And that was all a lot to do with him and being in that team, and they trusted him. And when Toby was trusted by the club and by the coach, that's when he was inserted into our side. And this isn't just my perception on what's fucking happened. These are words that have come from players themselves, including Toby. These are words that have come from the coach. These are words that have come from inside that I've fucking heard direct one-on-one. These are things I've heard on phone calls with people from the club. And you know why? You know, it's not just fucking spin. And this is what you guys need to understand. But you also got to have the understanding that sometimes they do make mistakes. Yeah, of course they do. It's human. People make mistakes. So what? Fucking get over it. Doesn't mean you call them a moron or hang shit on them. Fucking idiot. I'm not, boys. Shane, Dogs is a realistic chance of missing the 8. Well, if it was a genuine question, I'd be afraid for your state of mind. Look, if you asked are they a genuine chance of missing the 4 and being bundled out in the first week, of course they are. Are they genuine chance of missing the 8? It's absolute impossibility to miss the 8, and that was, even though Winston come out and said, if we beat the West, we officially have qualified for the 8. Nah, we literally qualified last week, and basically had qualified the week before. So it's, if you fuck, people are stupid. Oh, the coach loves the nose beer, eh, June Bug? I hope he enjoys it. Oh, there you go. Oh, the Kennel podcast sent you here, did they? Is that here? Well, guess what? I'll ask Elmo that when I go fucking talk to him. Because I'll tell you what, I've never seen people get so fucking outraged. Flip from we're the greatest side in the world to what the fuck is Serrano doing and the club doing? Oh my god. It's like, which way do you want it? Which way do you want it? We'll be better next week. We will, but look, I said that the fullback thing was always going to take a transition and we could lose some games because of it, and we might. We might struggle. But that's okay. Season's been good so far. Brian, you're fucking hilarious. I reckon Danny's your mate, Brian, just to be honest. This coward host band, Danny. Hey, Zahia. Come call me a coward anytime you like, my friend. You know who the coward is? It's people who come on here with their hand on their penis, getting off. Like you. Look, mate. I can get as, if you really want to fucking get down to it, whichever way you want to throw them, you know, if you want to throw fisticuffs, always happy to lose some teeth. If you want to fucking sit there and talk shit, happy to do it. I can go fucking worse, as bad as you can at least. But if you're going to sit there and just troll the group, like seriously, mate, fuck off. Does it feel that good, does it? To come here and roll people up? What's my opinion on gays in the NRL? Do you play NRL, do you? Nothing wrong with it. There should be more of them. Feel for the Dogs fans flying high at the beginning of the season with Sexton getting them to number one. And Girl does the dodge and brings in Gervin and now they're falling apart. Shane. Fuck, look at them all. Knife fight. Fuck yeah. But June, I reckon, like, if I said it was a night fight, you'd bring a gun, wouldn't you? Because that's what cowards do. Yeah, I reckon 38 points will get us there, brother. Oh, he's a Storm fan, is he? That's all right. I like the Storm. Oh, gave his goodbyes 20 minutes ago. Yeah, I'll probably say goodbye again to here. I'm here for the love, mate. But guess what, motherfucker? See you later. And you can go too, June. You know why? Well, it's not because you're gay. I welcome diversity. Always have and I always will. It's not how I roll, but, you know, one of my kids or my nieces or nephews or whatever are probably going to be gay, but that's not going to change anything. But look, you can, I don't need your support. Brian, you're hilarious. G'day, Michael. You've come to a bad time because there's lots of fuckwits here. But all right, we'll get on and talk serious stuff. Glad, I hope you had some fun. I played along pretty well. Got fired up. Had a bit of banter, which was good. Sort of got my mind off the loss. Not as disappointed as I was. And we had some fun, and I love you too, Timmy. And I'll see you all soon. Dogs can finish wherever they finish, Brian. I'll be supporting them, bro. I'll be supporting them. And I'm not... Look, Melbourne might beat us 60-0 in the semi-final in Melbourne if that's what happens, if they make it to the top 2. But guess what? I don't think our team's afraid of the Storm at all. Talk soon, guys. G'day, Joby. Still haven't listened to your 2 minutes yet, but I'll have a listen to that soon. See you, House. You won't be coming back either. Where's Huss? The good thing about when these wankers expose themselves, we can just get rid of them. But I'm glad. I hope people had some fun, a bit of banter with some of rival fans and whatever else. And I'll be heading home soon. I might go on late again and have a look at the stats in depth and look at a little bit at New South Wales Cup. But I may not as well, but we'll see. Hopefully, you know, I've been out here way longer than I was supposed to. I went for a drive and my missus will be like, what am I doing? That's it, Tiam. Good to see you too. And thanks to all the people who keep coming back. I don't deserve you coming back all the time, but I appreciate it. Much love. I love yous all, and I'll talk again soon.